Alright, what's up, guys? We are the Cas-Ti-Oh, the Woonox, Team Woonox podcast here. We are here with Kyler. Welcome, Kyler. To the pod. And we're just doing some replays here on some live top rated. Um, so we got some tier limit here. Kyler, how do you feel about tier limit? Looking at this deck here, I see the Revolutionary Synchron coming in here. It looks like I feel like when I see this deck play, they always have like a full board. They're using every card in their hand. Like, let's hear what you have to say about this deck.
I think like the current format tournament's really cool. The Revolution Synchron lets you swap your like Wraith South or set up for it lets you set up like Baron or Crystal Wing inside your like normal board and then actually just do tier cards, which is actually all the deck needs to do to win. To be honest, like I played the deck at locals like a month ago, I want to say, like right before the new set came out, before Revolution was out. And it honestly feels fine, except for like if you get shifted or if you're against Dragon Link, the match just feels impossible. I think we played 5 rounds. I went 3-2, and I got shifted twice by Tash and just got OTK'd. And then I played versus Dragon Link, and he just bistilled all my tier monsters, and I couldn't win the game from there.
So Bystials and Dimension Fissure, or basically Dimension Fissure and the Hand Trap is like GG's, and I feel like that kind of goes to like the conversation of like problematic Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and like if you draw the shifter and you're trying to play like a deck like Dark World, or you're trying to play a deck like Tier, and then your opponent has like the shifter or the droll. I mean, depending, droll's like OTK against like some decks. You know, some decks can play through. I feel like Tier, like they want to add, but I feel like they can just like fuse and keep sending stuff. I don't know how good Droll is. Like I haven't been in the format too much, but I feel like Shifter, Droll, like these decks like want to just like combo and keep adding, keep fusing kind of thing. Like would you say Droll hurts this deck too?
I don't think Droll's that bad, but it can definitely mess with your hands because the deck is really awkward to play, and you get a lot of weird hands. You kind of have to dig for like your tier names and stuff. And if you get drolled at the right point, like let's say you activate Race Off, add like Fenrir, and you get drolled, sometimes you just can't do anything after that because you're reliant on that Fenrir search to get you to your tier limits, like one of your tier names, so you can actually play the game. So sometimes it can mess you up, but I don't think it's like that bad. I think Droll is like an okay card overall. I personally don't like the card. I think it's unfair. It can definitely just like ruin a tournament for you if you just get drolled too much. Like for the Fargo regionals that we went to, I think I got drolled 13 times that day. I still went like 5-2 because I built my deck to play around droll.
You
But
did do.
every
Congratulations
single
on your
person
top
drolled me.
16. And what
Yeah,
deck did you play?
I played Gold Pride Punk,
Gold
but I
Pride
cut all
Punk,
like
dude,
I
the only
cut like
one.
all the punk cards that weren't just like Ziam and Foxy and Deer Note because I was like, I'm just gonna get drolled. I can't play the rest of the engine because they're just bricks now.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna get drolled the whole day, so I just cut all of them and like lowered the power of my deck just so I did all day. Which is because I played I played a case tournament with a deck that was weak to droll, and I just got drolled like all day. And I'm like, okay, everyone's just playing droll at this point.
Dude.
I'm not gonna play a deck that can get drolled.
See, and that's the thinking, right? Like I like Dark World, I like combo decks. I like a deck where I don't have to fear whatever card, but then it messes with your deck building. Like, do I play a little bit of a Crosso engine? Do I need to main my called by? Like, do I even maybe put like a prohibition in my deck to call like whatever card messes me up so much? Like, I feel like I regret doing that. Like it sounds cheesy, it sounds like janky, but I swear every time I play Trap Tricks, like Trap Tricks, when that structure deck came out, I feel like evenly was like people just put it in their main deck.
Oh,
just, like
yeah, and
because
even
of
it just
Trap
worked.
Tricks.
Yeah.
Ah, dude, evenly like, and that's a card I see going like talking about problematic cards. I know it's not like crazy, but I feel like it's a card that Konami would have an eye on, and they'd definitely be
So,
like, "Yo, let's put this evenly at one. Let's check
so
these like, if there's gonna be Lightning Storm at two, why wouldn't evenly be at one? Like that's I mean it might be a pretty look at Lightning Storm like right
So like what I think is like weird about the format is how consistently you get access to those cards because Thrust and Prosperity exist. Like your deck, instead of being like the normal 40 cards, if you draw Prosperity or if you draw Thrust will get like almost every card, especially board breakers.
Dude, it's like a
I've been
crazier upstart goblin, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been like Thrust evenly before, and I'm like that sucks. I negated a card, so then I got evenly. I'm like, okay, and I'm not playing like a good deck. I'm playing like something like mid as fuck.
of course you are. But you're making a mid deck like good as fuck. That's what you do. So like it's cool to see you do that with all these decks, and like it's definitely cool. Like I think you're working. Didn't you were talking about like some dual avatar, I believe, recently.
Oh yeah, the deck's so bad. So like I do like to make decks. I do like to try to make decks, like try them out and make them work. And like that deck I played at 2 locals and I won like, so I went to game 3 on everybody. Yeah. But once people like kind of understood how the deck worked, they realized it was bad and they only had to like stop my actual like fusion monsters. So they would just let me combo and they would just break my board because my interruptions are just so lackluster.
Like they don't know what to do.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do until like game 2. Like after game 1, like I won a bunch of game 1s, and then game 2 and game 3, people would just like side into like board breakers against me, and I just had no chance of winning at all. It was awful. Like,
you know what? Speaking about board breakers, I'm looking at this guy's graveyard right now. Now, an interesting card. It was in my side deck for a while, and I played it at the Minnesota Regional, the last one we had. Change of Heart. I know we have like Tactics that does like the same thing, but like it's literally doesn't get more basic than like, I mean it targets, right? You have to like, it plays into things. It can play into things, but like the force negation, I think specifically Rika, I drew the Tactics, like a triple Tactics talent, and I drew the Change of Heart, and like with those 2 cards I just literally like cleared his whole board. So it's like you have like these really powerful spells in Yu-Gi-Oh. Could you see like, maybe could we see like a Thrust? Could we see like a Tactics? Could we see maybe like, are there other problematics? I know Change of Heart's not like problematic. I just like to see it here because I'm like the type of guy that would like put Change of Heart in my side deck. So
yeah,
what are
no,
your thoughts on that?
I think that like the spells are way too. I think spell and traps are like way too hard to interact with. Like if you play like against like monsters and stuff, there's like a million monster negates. If you want to play around evenly, your deck just better have a built-in interruption for it, or like an interaction for it, or you better have like Judgment. And like there's nothing else. Like Dark Bribe kind of, but like that card loses to Prosperity. So like if they Prosperity, you can't Dark Bribe Prosperity.
Dude, you know how bad it feels.
No longer Dark Bribe anything. So like you literally only have Judgment now to out cards like that, which I hate. And there's so many of them.
And you have to draw that Judgment after you side it in. Like, it's realistically, I don't know. Judgment feels like, it feels good when you activate it, but like when you side it in and you're like looking for it, like it's just, I don't know. I end up cutting it because it's like I don't want to just, you know, rely on this card, but then another, like you're just relying on another card that like ends.
And like the weird thing with Judgment too is if they just have a bunch of engine, Judgment's like super lackluster in a lot of the good decks. Like so like I was signing Judgment for the regional, and I lost to one of the Pearly players because they like triple hand trapped me into like normal summon Perlili, and I had to stop it with Judgment because like I couldn't beat it any other. I couldn't like stop him any other way, and I just had to hope he didn't have another monster. And of course, he just activated a spell card and did it. And like after I got hand trapped, that Judgment literally just said -4,000, and it really didn't accomplish anything.
Dude, I swear, dude, I had the same problem with Judgment where it's like you draw it, and I think I drew 2 Judgment, like the Pearly Field spell, like a hand trap and something else for like, it was like the last game like that I could lose before like being knocked out. And I was like, it's like it puts you in a position where you're forced to Judgment like the worst thing possible just to try to hold on, and if you can't even get it, I swear I don't think there's nothing that feels worse than like activating a Judgment twice and still losing, like just literally holding on for your dear life. Solemn this, solemn that, can I drop what I need, like like that's rough Yu-Gi-Oh, man. And it's
games hard. Yeah, like I had like a couple of games where I was playing where I had like double Judgment versus Cas-Ti-Oh, and I made like a very mid board because I had like Ash double Judgment and then I got like Impermed, and my opponent was just summoning big dudes, and I played myself down to 2K, and I just died because I played Judgment, and even though I put them on like nothing, a single Fenrir was just enough to kill me basically.
A single Fenrir.
I was like, it's just so low. And Judgment's like one of the only cards you can generically play against those board breakers. And so if they don't have them and you weren't able to combo and you have Judgments, like you just feel like a really bad position.
Right.
Which sucks because we just need like a generic spell, like a generic spell and trap negate on like a counter trap or something would be huge. And it's just never been.
So I feel like not a lot of decks can play it, and it's a kind of big minus. Maybe the only deck that could play it could be like Purely or Dark World or something. But like, I don't know if you remember the card Cas-Ti-Oh, the Forbidden Spell. I feel like that card, just like splashing that card in like the right deck at the right time. Like, I mean, it sounds like the stars need to align, right? But that card has so much potential. I thought about that card like back when like everyone was playing Forbidden Droplet and everyone's playing like, all these spell people are like, oh, I fear this, I fear that, I fear this. It's like those are all spell cards. Why don't you just play this spell negate that literally stops it and stops every card in your opponent's deck? I mean, it's a very high cost card and situational, but I feel like I said, like if you're playing like Dark World or you're playing purely a deck that has like a million spell cards, like yeah, bring it on. Like, let them bring that tactics on. Let them bring that like Dark Ruler no more. Not that purely like care that much about that, but Dark Ruler no more on a Dark World board is like easy, like that's what they're doing, and that's why I feel like a lot of people are main decking Dark Ruler. A lot of people are like main decking it, and I say this, but I don't know because I'm not playing like that much. But I feel like the building a deck to go second when you can still go first, like good, like that's always been a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh and always will. And like people are prepared for that.
Yeah, like the funny one that I always remember is you know who Shannon Long is, right? The guy who played like Mech Knights forever.
Okay, I'm not aware, but I know of the guy that played Mech Knights. Yeah, I know there was a guy that played Mech Knights forever.
Yeah, and like he was just winning off people not knowing how to go, like not knowing how to play against the go second, like just pure go second Mech Knight, like shitting. And like that's always funny to me.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Prank Kids. That won the YCS. I don't know if it was a YCS or like a...
Yeah, it was. I think it was like the UK YCS or something like that.
Yep, and no one knew at all.
Yeah, no one knew at all how to play against it. People learned real quick as soon as that Link 1 came out.
Yeah, and everybody was on the deck, and like it became meta. And then there was Meow Meow. I think like not too long after that, like.
Yeah, Once Meow Meow came out, that deck was just like insane.
And I think it's still pretty good on Master Duel.
I don't know. I haven't played Master. I haven't seen it in Master Duel because everyone's just playing like Tier Sprite, Tashtira, and that's all I play against whenever I play Master Duel. Is like those decks that like I rated that and like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes for some reason always.
I mean, those are like the OG decks, right? That's like people getting back in. They're like, oh, I can play Master Duel for free. What's up, Dark Magician? Which like power to you. I still have faith. Like ever since Sam topped the Canada regional with like Dark Magician like 5 years ago, I've been like, okay, if he can do it, dude, this like is a thing. Like it just takes a pilot and the dedication and the right cards, like.
Yes.
Like,
I tried to build Dark Magician for one of my like homies who like plays a little bit, but he's more casual. And he was like, "Can you build me a good Dark Magician deck?" And I tried the deck on DB, and I'm like reasonably high rated. I think I was like 700, 800 at the time. Okay. And I went into ranked with Dark Magician. I was like, "Man, this list seems pretty cool." And then I realized really quick that Dark Magician has a lot of good cards that don't do anything. They're like, these cards are insane, but you don't actually get anywhere other than like getting Dark Magician set up and like getting some draws to set up your Dark Magician. Like it just doesn't do enough. Like,
oh well, you know what, Kyler? We're gonna have to do a part 2 of this. I was gonna ask if what are some other problematic cards that like I thought I saw you put like a list out the other day. Like if you could. Just I don't want to say ban hammer, like maybe limit hammer, semi-limit, like.
Oh no, ban all of them, all those cards.
All those. Could you say what some of those cards were? Like,
yeah.
What are the cards that you want banned, and then what are the cards you want limited? Let's like end off there.
Okay, so I think, personally, I don't like limiting cards in most scenarios. I think if a card's okay at 1, it should be okay at 3. And if a card's okay at 3, it doesn't matter if it's at 2, other than like niche cases like malicious, where like having more in deck, or like Rat Pier, where having more in deck is relevant. So I think all these cards should just be banned. I think Arise Heart should be banned. I think Shifter should be banned. I think D-Barrier should be banned. Calamity was one of them. Eradicator, Anti-Spell Fragrance. Basically just cards that don't let you play a portion of the game. And like one of my like weird ones that I saw a lot of people like questioning is I think X-Pearly Noir should just be banned. I think not being able to be affected by card effects is actually just a floodgate effect. Like, I think that is it literally says other cards can affect this, and it makes it so a bunch of your cards are unplayable, essentially. That would normally be, like, fine. Like, an Imperm against X-Pearly Noir is basically a blank card. It's basically floodgating you from playing that card, right? I know it's, like, a weird take to have,
It
but
is.
I totally think that's a thing. I think unaffected cards are awful.
I naturally want to, like, argue you because I play that deck, but I see what you're saying. I'm just trying to think if there's been a card that's been, like, unaffected that has been banned like that. Like, we have Quillfort Towers was, right?
Yeah, Clifford Towers was. And I think, like, Towers was, like, oppressive for its time because it was, like, the first, like, it was the, like, tower. Like, it's the moniker given to all the cards of the same type as it.
Literally,
I think the difference between, like, something like Arrival, which does, like the same thing, and something like Towers itself, is that those cards don't naturally check the cards that would out it. Like, the way you beat those cards a lot of time was, like, battling over them or, like, kaijuing them or something along those lines.
Right.
But the Pearly deck punishes you for doing any of that.
Yeah, it really does. Even if you use that new, like, or it's not new, but the Herald of the Abyss, like, that doesn't target the card, it targets the player. And then that's still the card is, like...
Yeah,
and, like, don't you still trigger your removal stuff if they Herald of the Abyss you?
No, you don't get the removal stuff. The problem with that card, for me, like, why I refuse to play it, is just when I was testing it, I was like, okay, my opponent, if they just set one of the quick plays, that beats that card. It's way too easy to deal with. If your opponent, if you're smart and you play, like, if you just set like one of your quick play spells instead of like burning it, you can just use that, and that also not only does that create like a chump blocker in case they have like the outs to the actual board, but that also creates this scenario where like Herald the Abyss is now turned off because you just summon the Perlili from the deck and you send that instead.
Yeah, that's
so, like,
good. That's like that's a next level thinking. Like it doesn't seem next level. I say that it should be like common knowledge, right? But that's like those are the things in Yu-Gi-Oh that you can do and like you can react. And like I feel like some people just feel like, okay, I activate this, like, it's over. Like how many times have I like caught? Oh shit, I can do that like 2 seconds after I just let something happen, but it's an actual tournament or something that someone's taking serious, and now I can't do it. It's like learning the hard way. You know,
yeah, sometimes you get like, yeah, sometimes like you're like, so I bring new decks all the time in tournaments. I just think deck building is like one of the more fun parts of the game.
Right.
And there's times where I'll just miss like simple interactions on cards because like I like read through it, knew what it did, but I don't have like that actual experience playing it. So I haven't had these situations come up, and I'll be like, oh my god, I missed like the dumbest thing ever.
Oh, I swear. And then you like punish yourself so much after it. Like you're like, oh, like I'll never do. Like I'm sure you know, like the talking to your buddy after a regional that like you literally just like slip through your fingers because of a misplay or something. I think that's like the most common thing. Like at least for me. Like granted, I love topping. I love doing good. Like I'm pretty consistent at sucking and doing good. So I don't know where I'm at there, but I've definitely been there multiple times where you got to make the best out of it, dude. Like it is a game. Yeah. It's a card game.
And the other thing with the game is sometimes there's just literally nothing you can do. I had like one regional where I had like the regional when the Super Heavy and Pearly came out, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna see a bunch of Pearly, a bunch of Super Heavy Samurai, and I just played against like 5 Cas-Ti-Oh, and my deck was like built to beat those decks, and I just got shifted the whole day, and I ended up going like 4-3, and I'm like, man, this is so. My deck was like so good against both Pearly and Super Heavy, but I was not built to beat Cas-Ti-Oh. I played only Cas-Ti-Oh, and there was like nothing I could do, and I would draw like the cards that didn't do anything to Cas-Ti-Oh.
Dude, do you know what I played? I know exactly what regional you're talking about, and I played like my pure Dark World deck in Droll Heavy and Shifter Heavy format. Like I was like, fuck it, dude, I'm playing Dark World, and I did pretty decent, dude. I went like. I got to X3, like, right before topping, you know? Like, if it was just that one game, dude, it's always that one game. I swear.
Yeah.
But Dark World's a deck that I do want to like and it goes back to like the original conversation about like, do I not even want to play this deck just because this hand trap's in the meta, you know? And I think I'm gonna play my deck no matter what. I'm not gonna be scared of that hand trap. Nope, I'm not gonna do it.
I think like you have to make a meta call at some point. So like for the regionals where I played Gold Pride at, the reason I played Gold Pride is because the deck I was playing beforehand was Gishti, and like right when the set came out, a bunch of people weren't on Droll, and then I was like testing throughout the week, and I was getting Drolled left and right by everybody, and I'm like, okay. And then I went to that taste tournament like that the weekend beforehand, and I just got Drolled by everybody, and Gishti can't play through Droll at all. Like if you get like a perfect hand, you can, but like the combo is so broken once it actually goes through, and it's super consistent at going through unless you specifically get drolled or shifted. And I was like, I'm just gonna get drolled and shifted all day if I play this deck. I'm not gonna play this deck.
That sounds like Dark World.
Yeah, yeah,
It
no.
sounds
So like,
literally same boat. Like my deck is like this combo deck where I search and I have things go to the graveyard and I get this advantage and I do this. Like, I mean, Gishki, were you hand looping in Gishi?
no, I wasn't. The new monster, you can basically loop your searcher like I think it's on average 4 times in one turn.
Wow.
Because it's not a once per turn searcher, and the new ritual monster like revives it. You just loop the searcher and like in your whole deck out, and then you draw 2 cards on your turn, 1 card on your opponent's turn. You set up like a toad +2 monster negates, and then you set up a draw on their turn and like a pop on their turn off of like a 2 card combo. The deck would go absolutely crazy. But if you got drolled, you literally would just end on like a toad pass, and it just was never enough to beat anything.
So is that like a deck that maybe you would consider like playing like the like hand trap package?
Yeah, so like I considered trying something like that. My like end like problem with running like crossout was like if they didn't have it, I just had a blank card in my hand, and that's just kind of like my issue with crossout. So there was this like old like there's like proverb is a bad word for it. It's stupid as fuck to say that. There was this old like statement I heard long ago because I used to play Hearthstone like competitively,
Right.
and one of the things that everyone yeah, Hearthstone is a game. I have not played that. I haven't played it in forever.
Me neither, but I've got it. It's in the back pocket.
Yeah, I remember. I was like legend, like 5th in the U.S. at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, I played that game like crazy when it like came out. But there was a deck that was called I think it was Pirate Warrior, and the deck could consistently kill you by like turn 4 or 5 unless you specifically played like counters to it. And one of like the biggest like things I remember like someone saying, which was like one of the big like streamer pro players, was he was like basically the problem is you're putting a lock on the game state ending in 4 turns, and then you have to have the key. And it's always better to be a lock than a key because a key only opens one door or like only one lock, whereas a lock locks everyone else out. And that's kind of how I feel about cards.
Someone clip that. Like what? Okay, this kind of I know it kind of has to do with it, but it's the fact that other card games like will actually help you see insight to Yu-Gi-Oh. Like that when you like step back and you like look at it like for what it is, we get so wrapped up into meta, into this, into that. But like what you just said, like look at the game, break it down as like, okay, like I'm gonna lose by turn 4, like what do I do?
Yeah. And it's like, and then like the answer is like you have to play these specific cards that beat it, except for when you're playing a deck that's not it, and you're not playing a bad card. Whereas like that card is always going to be good because your opponent has to have the answer for it. So whenever you have a card that's like forcing specific answers to it and like warping the game around it, it's always going to be better than the cards that beat it. That's like so like a broken card is always going to have cards that beat it, but it's going to be better than those cards because it's the broken card. Is essentially kind of where it's going from that.
Right. That makes sense. Damn, makes you like big think, honestly. And I mean, maybe we can, take that into like next episode. Like, let's look at like the best decks. What are the like upcoming contenders? Like, if this ban list like really does get hit, like with all these, because like the thing is too with the ban list, like to jump back at it, is what you called is like what Konami goes after. Konami wants to ban like the cards that make Yu-Gi-Oh not fun, the cards that make you like not be able to play. Like that's what gets hit, and sometimes it's already over our head. Like we're like, oh, they banned that. Oh yeah, they banned this because like there was this OCG deck that could do this in 2 turns and kill you. You didn't hear about it. Like just stuff like that, like random stuff. Like it doesn't even matter if it's like relevant or not. Like okay, I I say that just because there were a couple times maybe I was like unaware of it, but I feel like sometimes like out of the blue, like, you know, if this card is gonna make like a really unbroken game state, or maybe there'll even be like a pre-ban, like, you know.
Yeah, I wish they would pre-ban stuff more often. I feel like there's stuff that this like, if we didn't have Shifter for so long, I feel like there's so many more decks that could have competed with Cas-Ti-Oh, and they could have seen that in the OCG Cas-Ti-Oh was like dominating, and like 3 Shifter really, really solidified that deck's power because like, and at least pretty much one game out of your match, you're just gonna win if your opponent's not playing it. If your opponent's playing like a graveyard-based strategy, you're just going to get a free game at some point in the match, which feels really bad. Like knowing that like if my opponent draws Shifter, I'm gonna have a really hard time once I see they're on a Shifter deck. Like another example is I played against someone who I like tentatively think is just a worse player than me, but he drew Shifter 3 times and was playing Cas-Ti-Oh. And my deck could play through Shifter to a decent extent, but not if he had a good hand. Like if he was able to like break my board and do other stuff while also Shifter me, I wasn't gonna win. So when I got Shifter 3 games in a row, like every single game I put up some sort of a board, but like I couldn't play through the Shifter every single time. I got one of the games where I got Shifter, and the other 2 my opponent just had like board breakers plus the Shifter, and there was just no chance for me to take that game. And it's like those situations feel bad, especially because you know, like you got like you lost to like the game being like, a variance-based draw system more
like
than what should.
Banned, dude. It's getting banned. It's got.
I've been saying that since that card came out. I think that card's awful.
Dude, I know you're gonna hate me for this, but like Plunder, I just like think about how it's good still in the back of my head, and like, you know, why not just play that? Like, not that I'm going to, but like, why not play it? Like, you know.
I've done that too before. I've hopped on DB Rated and I've queued up with Flunder because I was like, man, I hate every deck right now. Almost so Flunder.
Screw, dude, I'm gonna join him, bro. I'm gonna play Flunder with 3 Droll and 3 fucking 3 Shifter. Let's see you get over me rising you every single turn on my turn, on your turn, until you get pissed off and quit. And that actually happened to me during the Star Charity. I didn't know that Flu was still like a contender. Like I heard about it, and I was like, how are these people still doing this? And I sit down to some kid who's like 12 years old, and he goes to like rise me 4 times on his turn. Like between his turn and my turn, it was like 4 times. Like, twice on his, twice on mine. And I'm like, I was like, okay, I'll set. I was playing the branded lab deck. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna like do this. I'm gonna set these 2. He's like, end of main. I'm like, God.
I know what kid you're talking about. And I remember he came over during my match at that Star Charity I was playing on feature, and he saw me like destroying a Flunder player. He's like, yeah, get him out of here.
Oh, good times. Good times. All right, Kyler. I'm gonna have to wrap it up here, but thank you for for helping create this podcast. The Cas-Ti-Oh, you guys can check it out on any channel that is willing to put it up. Honestly, I'm putting it up. I think Kyler's gonna put it up. Maybe more people on Wunark will have some guests hopefully in the future. Definitely in the future, and more team members. So. If this is what you like, this is what you got coming forward, and we'll have different discussions and ideas. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Kyler, is there anything you would like to say? Would you like to? I'd love to. I will shout out the channel. If I can pronounce. It's just GalliwYGO.
Yeah, so it's just like Galley. The reason my name's that is because when I played World of Warcraft and I was like 12 or whatever, my name's like from Hearthstone / WoW. One of the characters, one of the funniest things I remember hearing is one of the guys that go, "Trade Prince GalliwYGO's here." Like,
I know what you're talking
I always thought that was like the
what?
funniest thing how he would say that. And so I switched, and then like I was like random generating a name, so I didn't know what to name my character, and I got like a name similar to his, so I just like stuck with that, and like that's just been a thing forever now.
Well, that thing is going to be in the comment description. Click it. Check it out. Check out Team Unox. And, of course, check out my channel, Cardboard Carnivores, on TikTok, other platforms. But thank you guys again. Team Unox. This is GalliwYGO. And, yeah, Jake Mo checking out. Thanks, Kyler, for coming on tonight.
Yeah, we finished at the perfect time. The match just ended too.
The match just ended, dude, and I think we hit about a half hour. Like, I'll take it for the first pod, dude. I'll take it. All right, man. Nothing but good vibes and more knowledge that you can't confuzzle. I'm ruining it now. Okay, we're
Yeah,
checking out.
you can just let us ramble at each other for a half an hour.
All right, now we'll put all the bloopers in. No, this was the one take, dude. This is the one take, and I'll take it.
It was all right. It could have been worse, but like I don't know.
It,
I just have,
it can always be worse. It can
yeah,
always be worse.
I just have some bullshitting around too. It's
Exactly, and that's like we would have probably had this conversation with or without the pod. That's the thing. Like it did feel natural. Like it was slightly guided, but like it was guided by like your your comments on Zodiac, which I just look at. I'm like, oh,
oh,
Kyler's fucking commenting on everything. Like, like the
what,
picture of like the SpongeBob character with his kids, dude. It's so relatable.
uh,
Oh, I was
did you
dying.
was it? I was on the post of Zodiac. Someone posted a picture of their like field center, and it was like Jessie. It was like Jessie from Pokemon or from Team Rocket with her ass just like hanging out. And my comment was, at least it wasn't Meowth. That's it. Or like I, I know how the community works.
Oh my god, dude! I didn't know that community was Robbie's. Actually, like Robbie
Dude,
Cole started it.
you want to know what's even wilder about that? That was originally a Constellar deck group.
Really?
That's why it's called Zodiac Duelist, because when they came out, they were called like
Oh,
Constellars, but like it was about the zodiac signs
get out of here, dude!
or like the star signs or whatever for the zodiac.
You
And
guys get
so
some
that's why it's
history, some Yu-Gi-Oh history today.
bro, I'm old. I was in that group when it came out. Like,
Wow.
man.
Wow. All right, man. I gotta go. We'll definitely do this again sometime.
All right, sounds good, man. Peace
All right.
out.
Peace out, man. I will talk to you.